Do you think it is over for you? Do you want to give up on yourself because you think there is no more hope for you in that situation that you find yourself? Tears and pain, worries and heartbreak have always been the stories that make up your days and the experience of your life. You want to let go of what you have worked hard for because you are finding it difficult to get a glorious end result to what you are doing. You have tried all that you can, but really nothing is working for you. Listen, there is always a limit to the power and the capacity of every human as a matter of fact. Man was not designed to help himself because the power locked in man is not enough to help him out of his predicament. And that is the reason it is written in Isaiah 40 verse 29. He gives power to the faint and weary, and to him who has no might he increases strength, causing it to multiply and making it to abound. 30. Even youth shall faint and be weary, and selected young men shall feebly stumble and fall exhausted. The walk of every human on earth is not for him to stand on his own power and strength, because they are by default meant to fall and be weary. It is only God that cannot be weary or faint. You do not have to end it there because you think you cannot go on with such situations again. You do not have to give up because nobody is interested in helping you out of your trouble and pain. Listen, it is human to abandon fellow humans, but God can never. He will stand by you and walk with you even when you go through all kinds of pain and worries in your life. Listen, God said, if you go through troubles, He will deliver you when you call on me. If you go through the waters, He will deliver you. And when you walk through the fire, He is there with you. God asked a question that is very striking to the heart of them that believe in the Lord. He said, I am the God of all flesh. Is there anything too difficult for me to do for you? That is God asking you that question. That is God trying to inform your heart that those situations in your life may not go the way you want it to go. Everything may be working against you right now. Though you have tried not to let the issues weigh you, but you always see yourself on the ground and the situation is becoming tiring and you are fed up already. You want to give up on God. You want to give up on yourself. You want to abandon your dreams and your goals because you have lost all hope. Everything will be all right. God is still the God that does sudden things. God is never late into any situation. God comes when the power and the wisdom of man fails and has ended. That is when God shows up to deliver them that trust in Him. Do you still hold to yourself what is left for you to live on? To man, that is the end. To you, it is not the end, because that is where God will come in to save the situation and take the glory. He does not do little things. When God comes into a situation, it means that it has gone beyond the capacity of human beings. That relationship that seems to be facing difficulties, that marriage that seems to be faced with challenges. God will rescue that marriage and that relationship for things to be as He has designed. Why are you downcast? Have you not heard that God is the God of all wonders? Have you not heard that God is the God that does things suddenly when no man expects it? The Red Sea would have been the end of the journey for the people of Israel when they left Egypt to possess the land which the Lord God Almighty had promised to their fathers. They should have given up and willingly returned to the land of their master, the Egyptian. But while they saw impossibilities, while all they saw was the end, While the sea spoke difficulties, God was looking down from his throne. And he is still looking at us today, because that is what makes him God. Suddenly, while Moses related with God over the matter and a need for God to do something about their situation, God told him what to do, and God parted the sea for them to pass. Who among them would have known that there will be a way across the sea? Who would have thought of such sudden acts from God? Even Moses did not know. The reason he went back to God was because he knew God will always come up with a solution. God did it suddenly, and they were rescued. Lazarus was dead before Jesus got to his family to see his sisters. But the situation was hopeless and critically difficult for them. Suddenly, when Jesus came into the scene, there was life again. There was joy again. There was hope again. Dead Lazarus came back to life, and the tears of his sisters were turned into their testimony. Suddenly, God did it. When God said, "There is still hope," never doubt it, that there is always hope as far as God liveth. Even the dead will have their life again. Nobody will know that it will happen, but God will always do it, because that is how he does his things, to the amusement of people. Look at yourself and say to yourself that God is still going to do something for you at the right time. God is going to come up suddenly to save you from death and destruction. God is going to do it suddenly to bless you and put that smile in your mouth and give your heart that joy. God is him that does things at his own pace and timing. What you may see as sudden may be God's comfortable timing and right time. That is who God is. Do not give up now, because he is still in the business of changing lives and turning things around for those that are called by his name and those that have trusted in him. God will never fail the people that call upon him. God will not let you down. Though the situation may have lasted for a while, and you may begin to think God has left you, he has not, and he will never. Do not listen to the words of discouragement from people. Do not pay attention to people telling you to curse God, like the wife of Job advised her husband. Look up to God and let him change the situation of things in your life. It is not over for you until the situation has changed for your favor. God is still on that matter. God is still going to do it, and your heart will be filled with joy again. Be encouraged that lots of people from the scriptures and even in our time trusted God, and at a time when nobody expected it, God did it for them, and laughter filled their hearts to handle the challenging situations in their lives, and God changed the situation. That is what God is going to do for you suddenly, when you do not expect it, when the situation seems very difficult. Again, look up to God that does things suddenly for his people, and that situation will be handled. Yes, it is not easy for you, but you must keep trusting God. Yes, you have been trusting God, but you have not received the answers you need. Continue to trust in him. He will do your miracle at the time you least expect it. Your miracle and your change of story will come suddenly when you least expect it. Believe that God is going to come suddenly into that situation. Then you will see God, him giving you peace, even in the turbulent waters. You will see God giving you victory over your fear. God makes all things new, suddenly. If you want to know the power of God, then do not give up on him. Let your faith be steadfast and built on him, unshaken, and do not be moved by the things that you are going through. God cannot compromise his own nature, and neither can he compromise who he is. God will change that situation in your life. The answers you seek, He will give them to you. Just believe in Him, and He will manifest His power in your life and in every situation concerning you. The way you see and view a situation determines what you get out of it. What you see is always what you get. If you have a negative and pessimistic mindset, you might never see the good side of anything. But if you believe that in every adversity lies opportunity, you are sure to be a solution to what others see as problems and adversity. You are actually responsible for what happens to you in life. You attract what you see and believe in, like the saying that goes that like terms attract each other. If you always see the problem as the end of the road, there is little or nothing God can do for you, because you do not even have an atom of faith to change that situation. But on the other hand, if you have faith and the belief that in every problem that comes your way lies the ladder to your lifting by God, if you see the problems as the obstacle which you must roll away for you to rise, then you are sure that God would honor you in and through that problem. Your perspective on life is the willpower and the will to what you get out of life. Tomorrow is a seed that grows and germinates from how well you fuel and water it today. You must believe in God that the problem before you is a stepping stone to bigger and better doors for you. Have the belief that before any opening, there must be adversities to contend with. Before any opening, you must force your way through the door to enter through. The man Joseph did not see the problem that he found himself inside as the end for me. He believed that God was with him in the problem and would honor him if he remained faithful and committed to Him till the end. He saw an opportunity in the problem he found himself. He did not see an end. In the house of Potiphar, as a slave, he worked and distinguished himself from other slaves and maids, and he was honored and placed above them. In prison, he did not think of suicide or go about abusing his master and God for bringing problems and calamity his way. He saw good in everything, and God rewarded him. When opportunity presented itself, he interpreted dreams for his colleagues, and it happened as he said, and through that and in that problem God honored him and gave him the solution to the dream troubling the king. And when he solved it, he was made second in command. It was through the problem of being rejected by his brothers, being a slave, accused of rape, being in prison, that he found himself on the throne. That problem that is confronting you today and making you feel bitter is the ladder to your rising and lifting. Endure it because God would honor you through that problem. Joseph did not get back at those who did evil to him. He even told them that they did him good because it was through the evil they planned that God used to honor him and make him a deliverer unto them. The Bible did not also record that he went back after Potiphar to punish him and his family. He took over as second in command to serve the whole nation. It may tarry, it may take a little, but surely it would happen and you would be celebrated. The honor that would follow would outweigh the present pain and hardship you thought you faced. You will not remember the problems and difficulties you faced. David was another man who God decided to honor and lift him through the problems he faced. He was responsible and hardworking, but was forgotten by his brethren and even his father. He decided to assist, and God granted him victory over the enemy of the people. But instead of being rewarded and honored, King Saul decided to take his life, and he was on the run, running from cave to cave, city to city, seeking for refuge. A man who was supposed to be respected and honored became a fugitive, running for his life. The problem was too much for him to bear, that even people mocked him. The enemies he defeated previously also laughed at him, but he did not take it to heart. He knew God has exalted him, and it was only a matter of time before he would see the manifestation. When he had the opportunity to end the life of King Saul, he refused to take it into his hands and left it for God to handle it his own way. And the way God did it was unique, stressless, and guiltless on him. If David had killed Saul, he would have lived with that guilt forever and would have no form of moral standing before the people of Saul and Jonathan. But God handled it his own way and honored David through his faithfulness and respect. It is not your battle to fight to end the problem or prove your innocence. You might have been accused in the office or place of engagement, and those behind it want to frustrate you out of the way. Probably you have seen an avenue you can use to get back at them. That is not what you should do. Allow God to handle it his own way. When David became king, he looked for means to bless the family of Saul and Jonathan and not inflict the pain and suffering he went through in the hands of Saul on his family. This is also what you should have in mind. The problem is not presented by the person. It is your quick pathway to rising, and if you endure and walk through it faithfully, God would reward you. Daniel was another man who faced problems and persecution, but he endured and allowed God to honor and reward him. He found himself in a foreign land with so many foreign practices and customs. He found favor and love before every king that ruled, and others envied him and conspired to have him killed. They knew his secret was in God, and through his communication with him, when he prayed, and they decided to make the king pass a decree that nobody should pray. Daniel did not take it to heart or decide to retaliate against them. They caught him praying and took him to the lion's den. But God kept him alive there, and all those who conspired against him were thrown into the lion's den, and none of them survived. But Daniel did, and it was passed that all must reverence and acknowledge the God of Daniel. This is also similar to the experience of his three friends, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They faced problems and difficulties, but they kept their faith and believed in God, and God saw them through and honored them through that problem. Hold on to God in that problem that has presented itself before you. Do not doubt or throw away your belief. God is there with you. He came for the three friends, even in the fire, and they were spared and made news through their doggedness and resilience. God wants to make a story out of your case, and it can only be possible if you would endure. He would show up at the very minute when it looks like the end has come. When others were being negative, Joshua and Caleb remained positive about them conquering the land, and God honored them, while others who went with them died and could not enter the promised land. God kept and sustained them, and they were able to see and enter the promised land while others died. God honored Ruth through her problem. God honored Esther and Mordecai through their problem. God honored Hannah through her childlessness. And God would also honor you today through the problem and storm that is fighting against you. That problem would not see your end if you decide that you would see its end. That problem cannot swallow you if you are determined to let God honor and lift you through it. See it as your examination to the next level, and that is how it would be. For every next entry, there is a price to be paid, and the problem that has presented itself is the test and price you must pay well to pass through. Do not fail in the test. Allow God to honor and lift you through it. It must end for your good. Be like Abraham and allow God to honor you through that problem. Be like blind Bartimaeus and expect your honor from God. You must carry the spirit of a fighter and must not give up until you win and see the end. Quitters never win. There is joy after every battle won. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You must keep up to get to the end. You must embrace difficulties and problems because they are the access to the other side. A soldier cannot win tithes and names to himself if he has not been in battles and won. A sailor is not recognized if he has not seen storms and sailed through. Your mark and identity in life is measured by the problems you face and how you allow God to honor you out of it, and not how you gave up instead of waiting on God.